I never thought my own sister would become the kind of person I had to protect my child from. But the night she almost killed my baby, she stood in my kitchen with wine on her breath, shrugged at my horror, and said something I still hear in my nightmares. "He is still breathing, is not he?" 10 months later, that same woman was outside my house screaming my name through the Ring camera while I sat inside holding my son, refusing to open the door. Growing up, my sister Vanessa and I were never close. We were only 18 months apart, but it felt like we lived in completely different worlds. Some sisters shared secrets, borrowed clothes, stayed up whispering about crushes, or defended each other during family fights. We did none of that. We existed beside each other more than with each other. There was never open hatred between us, but there was never warmth either. Silence followed us everywhere. If our parents left us alone together, the house became painfully quiet within minutes. We could sit in the same room for hours without speaking, and honestly, neither of us seemed bothered by it. Things stayed that way until Vanessa turned 21. At first, it looked harmless. She started going out with coworkers after her shifts and posting pictures online holding colorful cocktails with captions about finally living her life. My parents laughed it off as a normal phase. I tried to believe that too. But within a few months, drinking stopped being something she did socially and became the center of her entire personality. Every event involved alcohol. Every story involved getting drunk. Every conversation somehow circled back to partying. Then she started trying to drag me into it with her. I never liked alcohol. I hated the smell of it, hated the way drunk people acted, hated losing control. Vanessa treated that like a personal insult. Anytime we were around family or friends, she would mock me for being boring or uptight. At first it was teasing, then it became aggressive. She would push drinks into my hands even after I said no. She rolled her eyes whenever I refused. Sometimes she would loudly announce to strangers that I acted like an 80-year-old grandmother trapped in a 20-something body. On her 22nd birthday, she crossed a line that changed everything between us. We were at a crowded backyard party with music blasting and people everywhere. I remember feeling uncomfortable the entire time, counting the minutes until I could leave. Vanessa came over smiling sweetly and handed me a water bottle. I was genuinely thirsty, so I took a huge drink without thinking. The second it hit my tongue, my throat burned. It was straight vodka. I spit it out instantly and started coughing so hard my chest hurt. When I looked up, Vanessa was doubled over laughing while recording me on her phone. Everyone around her was laughing too. I had never felt so humiliated in my life. That night, I told her she had one final chance. I said if she ever tricked me into drinking again or tried to force alcohol on me, I was done with her permanently. She rolled her eyes and acted like I was being dramatic, but she promised it would never happen again. A month later, she invited me to dinner for her anniversary with her boyfriend Ryan. She swore she respected my boundaries now. I should have known better. Throughout the meal, she kept ordering fruity drinks and sliding them toward me, insisting they were non-alcoholic. I trusted her just enough to believe her. After the third drink, the room started spinning. My face felt hot, my body heavy. Panic flooded through me because I had no idea what was happening. I remember gripping the edge of the table while asking her what was wrong with me. Vanessa laughed, actually laughed. Then, because she was drunk herself, she admitted she had been sneaking alcohol into my drinks all night. Vodka, whiskey, rum, whatever she had ordered. I do not remember everything after that because I was so furious and disoriented. But I remember calling a cab home and sobbing the entire ride. When I got home, I sent her a voice message telling her I never wanted to see her again. A week later, she called not to apologize, but to complain that I ruined her anniversary dinner because people judged her after realizing why I left early. I hung up before she finished speaking. For years after that, we had no relationship at all. Honestly, my life became peaceful without her in it. During that time, I met Ethan. He was patient, calm, and kind in a way I had never experienced before. We fell in love slowly and naturally. He proposed 2 years later, and I remember standing in our kitchen crying while he slid the ring onto my finger. Vanessa was not invited to the wedding. She never reached out either. Then I got pregnant. One afternoon, while I was about 5 months along, I received a message from Vanessa out of nowhere. She said she had seen my pregnancy announcement through a mutual friend and realized life was too short to stay estranged from family. She apologized for everything she had done and begged for another chance. I ignored the message at first, but she kept reaching out. Eventually, curiosity and pregnancy hormones wore me down enough to meet her for coffee. She looked older than I remembered, tired, bloated, but she also seemed sincere. She cried while apologizing and admitted she had behaved horribly for years. I wanted to believe her, maybe because becoming a mother had softened me. Maybe because part of me still wished I had a normal sister. But during that brunch, she drank 3 large glasses of wine before noon. When I carefully asked if alcohol was still a problem for her, she smiled and said drinking was just part of who she was. Then she promised she would never pressure me again. I told myself that was enough. For nearly a year, things actually seemed okay. She respected my boundaries. She never tried to trick me into drinking again. Sometimes she even acted protective toward me during my pregnancy. When my son Noah was born, she sent gifts and texted constantly asking for photos. I slowly started thinking maybe people really could change. That was my mistake. The first time I invited her to our house after Noah was born, I made one rule crystal clear. She was not allowed near my baby if she had been drinking. She agreed immediately. She even sounded offended that I had to say it out loud. The evening started normally enough. Vanessa arrived carrying 2 expensive bottles of wine. Ethan had 1 glass with dinner while I drank tea. Vanessa kept refilling her own glass over and over until she had nearly finished both bottles herself. By the end of the night, her speech was slurred and her movements sloppy. But she was still acting cheerful. Then she said she needed the bathroom upstairs. 10 minutes passed, then 15. A terrible feeling settled in my stomach. I went upstairs to check on her. The bathroom door was open and empty. My heart started pounding. Then I heard Noah making little noises from our bedroom. I walked in and saw Vanessa sitting on our bed holding my son. She looked completely wasted. Her eyes widened when she saw me standing there. She immediately tried to stand up and hand him over, but the second she rose, she lost her balance. Everything happened in slow motion after that. Her body tilted sideways. Noah slipped from her arms. He hit the floor. The scream that came out of me did not even sound human. I dropped to my knees and grabbed my baby while he cried hysterically. My entire body was shaking so violently I could barely hold him. Vanessa kept repeating that she was sorry while stumbling around the room trying to touch him. I yelled for Ethan, and he came running upstairs. Thankfully, Noah seemed physically okay. He was crying hard, but he had not fallen far enough to cause serious visible injuries. I felt relief for maybe 30 seconds before pure rage took over. I dragged Vanessa downstairs and outside while Ethan stayed with Noah. I told her she had one rule. One single rule: do not touch my baby while drunk. She cried and apologized, but I called her a taxi anyway and told her I never wanted to see her again. I thought the nightmare was over once she left. It was not. About 20 minutes later, Ethan screamed my name from upstairs. I ran into the nursery and saw Noah vomiting all over himself while Ethan frantically calling emergency services. The paramedics arrived within minutes, and one of the doctors asked if Noah could have consumed anything toxic. Then Ethan found Vanessa's wine glass beside the rocking chair. The remaining wine inside was almost gone. Vanessa had given alcohol to my infant son. The hospital became a blur of fluorescent lights, panic, and terror. Doctors confirmed alcohol poisoning almost immediately. They hooked Noah up to monitors while nurses rushed around us speaking in clipped medical language I could barely process. Ethan sat beside me white as a sheet while I cried so hard I thought I might pass out. Because Noah was an infant, the hospital automatically launched a child welfare investigation. Suddenly we were being questioned repeatedly by nurses, social workers, and administrators. I understood why they had to investigate, but it still felt humiliating. They looked at us with suspicion while our baby fought alcohol poisoning in another room. I called Vanessa at least 20 times that night. She never answered, not one text, not one call back. She vanished completely. By morning, the doctors told us Noah would survive. There did not appear to be permanent damage, but they warned us we would need ongoing monitoring because alcohol exposure in infants could potentially affect development later. Ethan collapsed into tears beside me. I remember gripping his hand so tightly my fingers cramped while thanking God over and over that our son was alive. The next afternoon, fueled by exhaustion and fury, I drove to Vanessa's apartment. Her boyfriend Cole answered the door looking confused and hungover. The second I showed him photos from the hospital, all color drained from his face. He admitted Vanessa had never come home the night before. Then he quietly confessed her drinking had gotten much worse over the past year. I lost control. I told him he was enabling an alcoholic who nearly killed a baby, I told him both of them were disgusting. Before leaving, I warned him that if Vanessa ever came near my family again, I would call the police immediately. After that, Ethan and I cut her off completely. We blocked every account she had, changed our locks, and installed cameras around the house. For about a week, things stayed quiet while we focused on Noah recovery. Then Vanessa posted a crying video online claiming I was cruelly keeping her away from her nephew over one tiny accident. Suddenly relatives started attacking me. People who had not spoken to me in months were calling to lecture me about forgiveness. Vanessa had apparently told everyone Noah only accidentally sipped from her wine glass for half a second. She painted herself as a loving aunt being unfairly punished by her cold-hearted sister. Some relatives actually implied I was exaggerating the entire situation because of old resentment toward her. I felt sick reading those messages. My son had been hospitalized, and somehow I was the villain. Then came the fake rehab letter. Vanessa mailed us a typed document claiming she had entered an inpatient treatment program, and that her therapist recommended reconnecting with family as part of her recovery. She requested future visitation with Noah once treatment ended. Ethan thought the letter looked suspicious, so I called the facility listed on the paperwork. It did not exist. That was the moment something inside me hardened permanently. She was not sorry. She was manipulating everyone around her exactly the way she always had. The next day, I contacted an old friend named Marcus who worked as a detective. He reviewed everything we had documented and advised us to keep records of every interaction. He said getting a restraining order would be easier if we could establish a clear pattern of harassment and instability. So I started saving everything, every text from relatives, every social media post, every voicemail. Ethan added more cameras around the property. 3 nights later, one of those cameras alerted us around midnight. Vanessa stumbled onto our porch carrying flowers and a stuffed bear. She was obviously drunk. She rang the bell over and over before eventually sitting on the porch crying. After 20 minutes, she left behind the flowers with a note saying she was sorry for the misunderstanding and that Noah needed his aunt. The flowers smelled like cigarettes and stale wine. I threw them directly into the garbage. Things escalated quickly after that. I warned Noah pediatrician office not to release information to anyone claiming to be family. The following day, the receptionist called me sounding shaken. Vanessa had already tried to obtain Noah medical records by pretending she was helping coordinate specialist care. When they requested authorization paperwork, she hung up immediately. Then Ethan and I discovered she had visited the daycare we planned to use in the future. The manager recognized her from a photo and admitted Vanessa had toured the building while asking detailed questions about infant enrollment policies. Hearing that made me physically nauseous. She was tracking our lives, watching us. Around that time, my parents invited us over for Sunday dinner and promised Vanessa would not be there. Against my better judgment, we agreed because they had not seen Noah since the hospital incident. At first, everything felt normal. My mother cried while holding Noah's tiny hand. My father acted unusually quiet. Then I heard Vanessa laugh from the kitchen. I froze instantly. A second later, she walked into the living room holding a giant glass of wine like nothing had happened. She smiled and said maybe we could finally talk things out calmly. I did not scream, I did not argue. I picked up Noah, grabbed the diaper bag, and walked straight out the door. Ethan stayed behind briefly to confront my parents while I sat in the car shaking with rage. When he came home later, he told me the truth. Vanessa had been living with my parents for weeks after Cole kicked her out. My parents had orchestrated the entire dinner ambush because they believed if we were forced into the same room, everything would magically heal itself. That betrayal hurt almost as much as what Vanessa did. For days afterward, I cried constantly, not because I missed my sister, but because I realized my own parents were willing to prioritize her feelings over my son's safety. Ethan blocked them after that, so did I. Then came the grocery store incident. I had finally started feeling brave enough to leave the house alone with Noah. We were in the produce aisle when I sensed someone watching me. I looked up and saw Vanessa standing at the end of the aisle pretending to study oranges while staring directly at my baby. My blood turned to ice. I abandoned my cart immediately and rushed out of the store. The entire drive home, I checked every mirror convinced she was following us. By the time I got home, I was having a full panic attack. I could not breathe, my chest felt tight. My hands would not stop shaking. Ethan came home from work early after hearing me sobbing on the phone. That night, he said something that changed everything. This is not family drama anymore. He told me quietly while rocking Noah to sleep, this is dangerous. He was right. We pushed harder for legal protection after that. Marcus helped us organize all the evidence chronologically, the fake rehab documents, the videos, the hospital records, the daycare visit, the attempted access to medical files, the stalking, the late-night appearances at our house. Then Vanessa made one final mistake. About 10 months after the night Noah was poisoned, our cameras caught her outside the house again. But this time she was not crying softly or leaving gifts. She was pounding on the door screaming my name hysterically. She looked thinner than before, almost skeletal, and completely out of control. At first I thought she was drunk again, then I realized she was terrified. Between screams, she begged me to help her because someone was after her. She kept insisting she needed money, a place to stay, anything. Ethan wanted to call the police immediately, but I stood frozen watching her through the camera feed. Then she started screaming that she had nowhere left to go because our parents kicked her out. She accused me of ruining her life, claimed everyone abandoned her because of me. And in that moment, I finally understood something. Vanessa had spent her entire life destroying everything around her while expecting other people to absorb the consequences. Every ruined relationship, every lie, every reckless choice became someone else's responsibility. She nearly killed my child, disappeared during the emergency, lied to our entire family, stalked us for months, and still somehow saw herself as the victim. I looked at Noah sleeping peacefully against my chest while she screamed outside our front door. And for the first time in my life, I felt absolutely no guilt. I called the police. Officers arrived within minutes. Vanessa fought them while they escorted her away. She screamed that I was heartless, that family should forgive family, that I owed her. One officer later informed us they found drugs in her car along with several empty liquor bottles. A week after her arrest, we finally obtained the restraining order. The judge reviewed the evidence and granted it immediately. Seeing that signed paperwork in my hands felt like finally exhaling after months of drowning. I wish I could say the story ended neatly after that, but real life does not work that way. Some relatives still think I overreacted. Some still insist I should have helped Vanessa more because addiction is an illness. Maybe they are right about the illness part. But being sick does not erase accountability. Being addicted does not give someone permission to endanger a child. Noah is healthy now. He is walking, laughing, and obsessed with toy dinosaurs. Sometimes when I watch him sleeping, I still remember how cold his tiny hands felt in the emergency room. I still remember the sound of monitors beeping while doctors worked on him. That fear never fully leaves you as a parent. As for Vanessa, I have no idea where she is anymore, and honestly, I stopped asking. People love saying blood is thicker than water, but I learned something different through all of this. Love without safety is not love at all. Family does not mean unlimited chances, and protecting your child sometimes means becoming the villain in someone else's story.